Welcome back to another week of our core teachings for all living beings. This will be our fourth week. And this week, we will be talking about fulfilling the precepts, as in how can we bring the precepts into our daily lives. And so in this topic of beyond rules and regulation, the Venerable Master said that throughout human history, the greatest accomplishments have been coming from religion. And the greatest works of arts, theater, literature, etc., have been inspired by religion. So religion enabled the glorious achievement of human civilization and has ennobled the innate character of humanity as well. Religion has been able to do this because of its creation of rules and thus precepts and systems of moralities. So all religions have their rules and precepts that must be followed. The Buddhist precepts are special because they are mostly concerned with the cultivation of morality. And for Buddhists, the only way to truly respect the Buddha is by perfecting his or her own human character. And we can only attain the inner wisdom and realize the highest level of truth after we are good and moral people. So that is why, after taking refuge in the Triple Gem, all Buddhists should request to undertake the precepts. The precepts serve as a foundation for learning Buddhism and being a moral person. And so compassion is the spirit of Buddhist precept. We can see the importance of compassion by looking at the Buddha himself. And while the Buddha was practicing the Bodhisattva path in his many past lives, he once cut off his own flesh to feed an eagle. And on another occasion, he sacrificed his own body to feed a tiger. That is, to not let these animals die because of hunger. And in the tiger's case, there's actually cubs that she's taking care of. So he doesn't want the tiger and the cubs to die because they couldn't have any food to eat. So in the same way, there are many stories of young novices who would rather give their lives to keep the precepts than to live an ignoble life of breaking them. So that is the case of when a young novice monk was asked to perform some unwholesome deeds. He had chose to end his life instead of just living a noble life because of that. Today, Buddhist practitioners continue to develop their compassion by keeping the teachings and keeping the precept and keeping their promise, and also to keeping their faith. So the Buddhist precepts are like the pleasant fragrance of a lotus flower. When someone practices the precepts purely, the fragrance of the precepts pervade the whole world, and that person will be praised wherever he goes. And the sutra on the fragrance of precepts says that the fragrance of all the flowers and fruits in the world, even sandalwood and musk, cannot be sensed everywhere. Only the fragrance of precept pervade the whole universe. So we can see the emphasis on the importance of a moral conduct, of how the precept can bring upon good affinities between us and other people. So the Buddha was an enlightened being who observed moral principle with diligence and purity. Not only did he hold himself to a strict moral code, he also formulated a host of rules and precepts, such as the 5 precepts and the Bodhisattva precepts, as a way to transform the minds and bodies of his disciples. And one of them, Upali, is one of the Buddha's 10 great disciples, was known for his great discipline and knowledge of the monastic precepts. And in Chinese history, Master Dao Xun the founder of Nanshan Vinaya School, was also so diligent in his observance of the precepts that he was said to possess the immaculate fragrance of precepts and the extraordinary clarity of meditative concentration. So we can see that this fragrance of precept has been used to describe a person with a strict moral conduct, as in when people are with them, are near to them, they will feel this clarity and this fragrance that is from their moral conduct by upholding the precepts. And Buddhist morality has many different facets, each of which helps to improve our lives. The 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome actions helps us to develop a sound human character. The conduct of Buddhist sages throughout the history helps elevate our morality, and the Bodhisattva's wisdom of emptiness helps us understand the mind and see our own Buddha nature. And whatever comes from a compassionate mind, and it should neither contradict secular law nor it gets in the way of benefiting all living beings. And that can lead us to fulfill our human character and also become enlightened. So Buddhist morality definitely goes far beyond the precepts. Such quality as connecting with others through generosity, forgetting others' past misdeeds, having a sense of remorse, watching over our sixth sense organ as not to indulge, being a good friend are part of Buddhist moralities as well. And in fact, all of the teachings of the Buddha includes some form of morality one way or another. And here we can see the 10 wholesome deeds, or in this book, it's been called the 10 wholesome actions. There are 10 wholesome actions in total, and I use this chart, this table, to sort of categorize them into 3 categories. As you can see on the top, it will be physical deeds. In the middle, it'll be verbal deeds, and at the bottom, it's mental deeds. So physical deeds, there's no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct. And verbal deeds is to refrain from lying, duplicitous speech, sorry, there's a typo in there, harsh speech, as well as flattery. And for the mental deeds, that are the thoughts, the things that we have in our mind. And all these mental deeds are the negative thoughts that we might have. And these are the 3 main ones. That is greed, anger, and ignorance. And it might also be called as the 3 poisons in a lot of different lineages of Buddhism as well. So these are the 10 wholesome deeds. When we are talking about the 10 wholesome deeds, we are referring to no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, as well as lying, duplicitous speech, harsh speech, flattery, as well as refraining from greed, anger, and ignorance. So these are the 10 wholesome deeds. And beyond the rules and regulations, being grateful for the kindness we receive is also part of Buddhist morality, because we should be grateful for the kindness offered to us by a lot of people, our parents, other living beings, by our country, even by the Triple Gem, all the teaching of the Buddha and the teaching of emptiness that have brought, as well as the teaching that the Sangha have been able to maintain in this world. We should apply our skillful means and bring benefit and happiness to all living beings, because we have benefited from this teaching, and it is something that is natural that we should be able to repay and bring these benefits to other people as well, and to give everyone universally, and to also spread the teaching far and wide, because we want more people to benefit as well. We should be tolerant, should be gentle, mindful, and always have kind words for others, because all of this is part of Buddhist morality. All the things that are good to oneself as well as to others is part of Buddhist morality. And we should each strive to have the great kindness, the great compassion, great wisdom, as well as the great practice of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And we should aspire to become enlightened and vow to liberate all living beings. As we have mentioned, if we practice all the wholesome deeds in the world and we have failed to vow to aspire to become enlightened and also vow to liberate all sentient beings, then all the deeds that we cultivate might not be that of Buddhists, of the Bodhisattva path. And even those who have done unspeakable, terrible things, such as murdering their parents or killing an enlightened person, an arhat, or injure a Buddha, or destroy the harmony of a monastic community, well, we should also be compassionate to them, to be able to guide them, to be able to lead them towards a wholesome path. So this is the perfection of Buddhist morality and the way to practice the Bodhisattva precepts as well. So the mission of humanistic Buddhism. So this picture shown here has been mentioned in the book. So this, we call him Dr. Sun Yat-sen. He is the father of modern China. He once said that Buddhism is the mother of philosophy and the benevolence that saves our world. And the study of Buddhist teaching can compensate for the one-sidedness of science, because we know that in the process of modernizing China, of course, a lot of science and technology have been put into application, but there is also a spiritual side that needs to be acknowledged. So not only does Buddhism compensate for the one-sidedness of science, it can also compensate for the incompleteness of worldly law. And the law imposes sanction for what has already happened, while Buddhist teachings are designed to prevent trouble even before it happens. So as long as the headwater, the source of a river are clear, its outlets will naturally be free of pollutions. And by engaging in spiritual transformation of society, Buddhism works to purify the headwaters of humanity. So this is to say that the laws of our world, the laws of society, is used to basically punish people when someone did something wrong. But Buddhism, the teaching of Buddha, is to prevent us from doing these wrong deeds in the first place. So as troubles become rampant throughout society, there are those who may say that a chaotic world demands harsh punishment. But in reality, legal sanctions that we see throughout our world are only intimidating for a short period of time. They cannot put an end to the criminal behavior forever. We cannot stop people that had really put their minds into wanting to create harm and to really destroy, to really have some effect with all these sanctions. So the Buddhist precepts have the ability to reform society by teaching us from inside, internally, to become compassionate, to respect life and support all living beings, and also to be disciplined, as well as instilling the importance of the law of cause and effect and the power of repentance. So if we are able to become compassionate beings, we will naturally wouldn't want to even see someone else to become hurt. And also we will understand the law of cause and conditions. We know that if we are able to do good, we will be reaping the good merits as well. But instead, if we do something that is bad, we will have the bad karmic effects as well. So these reforms are the mission of humanistic Buddhism. And humanistic Buddhism is not just, it doesn't only concern itself with cultivation of oneself, but also we must concern ourselves with all the social problems of society as well, and to try to give ordinary people a way to improve our own personal morality. So the Venerable Master had worked hard with the Buddhist Light International Association for many years to create programs to address these moral problems in our society. So one of these is the 7 admonition campaigns, and we can have a look at these 7 admonitions, and you might see a lot of parallel similarities between these 7 admonitions with the 5 precepts, but it basically expands even more into other realms of our modern society. For example, when we're talking about no killing, it's not just about no killing, but also no violence, not looking at violent news, looking at violent movies and etc., not using violent language. That is for no killing. And for no stealing, it also includes no gambling as well. So it's not about no stealing, but also not to gamble away one's own wealth and to create debt in the process. And when we're saying no lying, it's also about no harsh speech. It's not about saying something that is untrue, but also something that is hurtful. We should prevent ourselves, avoid doing that to other people as well. In fact, it includes no alcohol abuse, no smoking and drugs, even visiting brothels, because that is part of no sexual misconduct. So we can see that the Venerable Master, by expanding the 5 precepts, it had been promoting the 7 admonitions campaign to expand the Buddhist precept and make it applicable to all levels of society in the process. And the 7 admonitions shows us concrete ways that we can bring the 5 precepts into our lives by staying away from smoking, drugs, prostitution, violence, and other vices. So this is an expansion. And this 7 admonitions is not only for Buddhists, it's for other peoples, all peoples of the society as well. And a similar campaign can be called the Free Acts of Goodness campaigns, as we are now all really familiar with it. That is to do good deeds, speak good words, and to think good thoughts. And to a lot of people, they may seem simple, but the 3 acts of goodness are an easy way to practice the Buddhist teaching. So karma is created through what we act, how we speak, and how we think. So by doing good deeds, we change our harmful actions into helping actions of a Buddha. By speaking good words, we transform the harsh and jealous speech into the gentle speech of a Buddha. And by thinking good thoughts, we eliminate thoughts that are ignorant, negative, and full of confusion, and instead have the compassion and wisdom, the wise thoughts of a Buddha. And the 3 Acts of Goodness campaign is really a campaign for all of us to purify our karma and to become Buddhists. So we do this one step at a time. And the 3 Acts of Goodness is also like the 7 admonitions. It's not only for Buddhists. In fact, it's for everyone. It's been adapted into a way that all levels of our society, everyone in our society is able, whether you are a young kid or you are an old man, everyone in this society is able to follow through with the 3 acts of goodness if we are willing to commit ourselves to that. And so these campaigns coincide with another campaign that the Venerable Master would like to call Reclaim Our Minds campaign. And he make a metaphor that the body is like a castle and the mind is like a king ruling over all of our senses. And for this reason, we must make sure that we are in charge of our mind. So this campaign was an initiative for all BLIA members to respect life and care for society and reclaim our minds and use them to do good. And we must be able to reclaim these noble qualities of the mind and use them to benefit ourselves as well as others. So as you can see over here, this picture is a picture from BLIA. I believe this is one of the pictures from a general conference in the past. That is, we will have biannually a world conference in our headquarters. And so, in fact, when in this time in October, the reason why I'm doing this recording is basically I need to take part in one of the general conference that is currently happening in Taiwan in our headquarters. So this is what would it be like to be in a general conference. And of course, if you're interested in joining BLIA, you can ask the volunteers as well as venerables around the temple, and they'll be happy to be able to guide you towards how to register into these events. So BLIA has been successful over the years and gaining many members and opening up chapters all around the world. And in fact, the BLIA World Headquarters is being founded in Los Angeles in Shilai Temple. So Los Angeles could be said as the first few chapters that have been founded in all of BLIA. So as a lay organization, it has been able to further the mission of humanistic Buddhism and also to spread Buddhism to the people. And over here, this is a short, brief introduction about what Buddhist Line International Association, or BLIA, is about. So BLIA is a lay Buddhist organization founded in 1992 by our founder, Venerable Master Xing as a way for lay people to become involved in propagating humanistic Buddhism. And as mentioned, BLIA is founded, world headquarters is situated in Los Angeles. So basically, it's the same location as Shilai Temple. And BLIA serves a variety of social, religious, and charitable functions, and has more than 150 chapters all over the world. And as mentioned, we will have regular events, regular meetings and conference. And one of the larger ones is of the picture that have been shown is the World Conference that will happen every 2 years in our headquarters in Taiwan. And so for us who practice the precepts, we will gain the characteristics of the precepts and radiate them outward. So for such people, we will have a natural and majestic and dignified bearing and always act in a moral way. So practicing the precepts can purify our bodies and mind and improve our morality, refine our character, and also reveal our Buddha nature. So by practicing the precepts, we can be sure that our motivation will not fail us and that we will be endowed with all the merits of practicing the precepts. And the precepts are quite clearly essential to our lives because it is a guideline towards how we can conduct ourselves in our lives. And so if we are able to live according to the precepts, then we will be closer to the conducts of the Buddha himself as well. So Buddhism is a religion that advocates equality. And in Buddhism, it is said that everyone can, in fact, be a Buddha. So we should not disrespect anyone, because for they too will one day become a Buddha. So it is by observing the precepts that this unique quality is created and refined until we reach the goal of respecting human rights and also the right to live. So we must reach this goal to truly elevate our moral character of all human beings and leading all human beings to have a character that is closer to the Buddha. So it's by applying the 5 precepts, the 10 wholesome actions, and the 3 categories of the Bodhisattva precepts that it becomes possible to fulfill our human character and to attain enlightenment, benefit all, and to liberate ourselves as well as others. So all these goals are possible just by following through with the 5 precepts and wholesome actions, as well as the 3 categories of the Bodhisattva precepts. This is why the Buddhist precepts are so admirable. It deserves respect. And why encouraging all to undertake and practice them is the ultimate goal of humanistic Buddhist morality. So I believe this is the part that that concludes all of our teaching in regards to morality. As I've mentioned, the book For All Living Beings is basically served as a guidebook that instruct us on how can we train our morality, how can we uphold the precept, how can we learn the meditative concentration, how can we train our ability to meditate, as well as to develop our wisdom as well. So this topic concludes the part for morality, and starting from next week, we will be talking more about meditation or meditative concentration going forward. And so this will be our class for today. And if you have any questions, as usual, you can put it all in the Google Classroom and I'll answer these questions accordingly. And so this will be our last recorded class, and next week I will be returning back to Shilai Temple. Of course, you can have all these questions, but if I feel that some questions are better to be answered in person, of course, I will do that once I am back in Shilai Temple. And for that, I will see everyone again next week. So take care. Omitofo.